I read over 100 books this year, and these are my top titles, top 5 stars, the cream of the crop, just for you. If you're new here, my name is Paris, and I don't use vague labels in my book reviews. I explain content so that you know exactly what you're getting before you pick up a book. I'm sharing my top 5-star reads by genre. We're gonna have 3 5 stars from every genre that I read so that you can skip the trial and error and find something that you actually love. The first genre we're tackling is sci-fi and fantasy, and if you're looking for immersive worlds, these titles absolutely stood out to me. The first book in this genre mashup is a sci-fi and is Project Hail Mary by Ande Weir. I could not put this book down, and if you are gonna read this, please, I am begging you, read the audio. It is so well done, and I don't want to tell you anything else besides that because there is a loose spoiler that you may have already seen because the movie's coming out soon, but if you can go into this book blind, plot-wise, do it. It is so good. When the reveal came around the 30 to 40% mark, I was astounded, and it is one of my top reads from the entire year. The only disclaimer I will make is that it is heavy on the science, which again is why I recommend the audiobook. I have an art background and have absolutely no science-ness in my brain at all. And the heavy science of the sci-fi genre is definitely found in this book. And the audio made it much more easy for me to consume those parts of the book where it gets into the science. And the narrator did a really good job of making me feel like I was actually interested in what science was happening. And in real life, I wasn't. Listening to the audiobook, I would not have been able to make it through with a physical book. My quick takes on Project Hail Mary are 5 out of 5 stars. Language is mainly mild. There is some infrequent use of strong language and also God's name in vain. Spice is none. And content, there wasn't really any standout content to me. This was just a super immersive, amazing, unputdownable standout read. Second book in the sci-fi fantasy genre is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This is actually a romantasy, and this is her delve into the truly new adult romantasy. This actually does have some spice in it. This is the only book in my roundup that has any type of spice, but her writing in this is just phenomenal. And the spice is not explicit, like telling what body parts and stuff. It is open door. It is very emotional. You do know what's happening, but again, it's not being written out for you word by word, very plainly with body parts and stuff like that. So if you are an absolute no spice reader, I would not recommend this book. But if a more vague spice situation isn't going to hinder your reading experience, her writing in this is top tier of her books. The only other 2 books that I loved of hers as much are the River Enchanted and A Fire Endless duology. They have very similar vibes, and they do not have as explicit of content in them. So if you're looking for a read that is like this, but no spice, definitely check out that duology. I was so sucked in to the world and the realm that she created. If you have read her duology, Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, this book actually predates those by hundreds of years, and it is set in the God realm, which I absolutely loved because when I read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, especially in Ruthless Vows, I had lots of questions about the God realm, and this really is the backstory of all of that, and it is just beautifully immersive. Her writing is lyrical. I just absolutely loved everything about it. I wish it just did not have the spice content that it has, because me personally, if she adds any more spice than what is in this book, I'm gonna be done. I probably won't read any other books from her, which is so sad because her writing is just gorgeous. And the tale that she spins in this book, yeah, if this had the same spice level as her other books, it would have been my top read of the year probably. But the 3 short spice scenes throughout were very unfortunate. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is new adult romantasy. Language is infrequent mild. Spice is non-descriptive open door in chapters 67, 68, and 84. Content is on-page death, killing, themes of war, and same-sex relationship between side characters. Third and final book in this genre is A Dance of Lies. And actually when I was preparing for this video, the Goodreads rating on this is mid, 3 in the 3-star range. That is a crime. This book is severely underrated if that's the case, because I gave it a 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. Again, it has the immersive writing. It is closed door, so it's a romantasy with no open door spice scenes. If you love Rebecca Ross, you will love this book. So absolutely recommend for any fans of Rebecca Ross and Romantasy, but you don't want the spice content. I also really loved the female main character in this book because she is not the typical female rage, like I'm gonna go conquer the world type heroine that we see a lot in today's female authored fantasy novels. That was like a breath of fresh air for me. She's actually battling physical ailments and injuries, and it is a really great representation of the author's struggle with chronic illness. And I really love that she wrote the character like that because it is so successful in making it feel attainable to what this character is doing. Like, she is not a born assassin that can just wreak havoc everywhere she goes. She is trying to find loopholes and secret tunnels and weave lies to make things work in her favor, and I just really loved that aspect of this. Book 2 for this is coming. It's a duology. I am not sure if the second book is also going to be closed door. I really hope it is, because I would love for this to be a closed door duology in the Romantasy genre and be successful. And I'm wondering now if it has a lower rating because there is not explicit spice content, because I think if people picked up this book on the bookstore shelves, they would assume that it does have spice in it. But if you are a no spice reader, this is the book. You should read it. It's fantastic. My quick takes on this are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is romantasy. Language is mild. Spice is closed door. Content is imprisonment, death, murder, misogyny, chronic illness rep, and light themes of same-sex attraction. With my 1 5-star spicy book out of the way, we are moving into the no spice romance genre. These are romance books I feel comfortable recommending to everyone. Well, I say that with an asterisk because I have a really hot take on younger readers reading Romantasy. So if you're under the age of 18, ask your parents. But there is no explicit sexual content in these 3 books that I'll be recommending. My tippy top favorite was A Heart Sufficient by Nichole Van. This is a beautiful historical romance. It is actually part of a series called Pin Leaves of Thistlemere, and it is book 4. But they do truly act as a standalone, so you could read it by itself. If you want to get the full story though, I recommend starting at book 1 and working your way through. That is what I did. This one was my absolute favorite of the series. They just get better and better and better. Like I said, it's a historical romance and it is set in Scotland and England in the Victorian era. And I absolutely love Nichole Van's whole situation that she has going in this book. There was a beautiful character arc of redemption, and I highly recommend the audio on all of these as well. The narrator that Nichole Van had do these audiobooks is just perfection. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is historical romance. Language is mild. Spice is closed door, and content is past off-page abuse and traumatic childhood. Next is Love and Other Chances by Tracy Baack. This is a very personal read for me, and I feel like Tracy just wrote this book for me. I just don't really have words to do it justice, but I loved it. It is a second chance romance, which me and Mr. reads are second chance romance. The way that she successfully captures that, like, I've been afraid to read second chance romances because I thought there's no way that an author is going to do it justice, but she does. I mean, I was like sobbing throughout the book. I have annotated it and underlined and hearted and wrote out notes because I'm like, I know what the main character Tegan, I know what you're feeling right now. Like, I know. I've been there. Even though my second chance romance with Mr. Reads is completely different from the main characters, Tegan and Brooks, I just felt so seen by the characters. I absolutely loved it. Would recommend to everyone. Again, it is part of a series, and I do recommend reading this one in order because the other characters from the other books show up really heavily. This is book 2, and the first book is called Love and Other Goals by Tracy Baack. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is contemporary romance. Language is none. Spice is kisses only, and content is divorce and past death of a parent. My final book in this genre is actually a Christmas romance. Oh my word. Courtney Walsh. She wrote A Cross-Country Christmas, and I am obsessed. I think this is my absolute favorite book I've read of hers, and I am so surprised that it's a Christmas romance because I just am not, as a rule, a romance reader. I didn't start reading romance until I made my Bookstagram and this YouTube account and kind of expanded my horizons. I had no clue about anything about the romance genre, but I love Courtney Walsh. I love that a Christmas book is making my top reads of this year. Also, the page length of this is about 250 pages. So if you're looking for a shorter romance for the Christmas season when you're overwhelmed and you have too much on your to-do list and you're getting pulled 5 different ways and you have 8 parties to go to, this is the book for you. It is manageable. It is available on audio. It is a forced proximity, friends to more type situation, and I just really ate it up. Absolutely loved. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is contemporary Christmas romance. Language is none. Spice is kisses only. And content is divorce, themes of substance abuse, and death of a grandparent. The nonfiction genre, maybe my least read. Maybe my least read genre. I try to sneak in a few on audio, and this is actually how I got into audiobooks in general, but I was reading memoirs narrated by the author, and I just love that situation. And it was kind of my gateway into, 1, reading more nonfiction, but 2, just reading audiobooks more in general. And these are all nonfiction reads that stuck with me long after I finished reading them. First up is Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Lenz, and this book is heartbreaking. If you are a sensitive reader, I don't know that I would recommend this to you. She does struggle a lot with faith and curses God outrightly in the book. So if that is something that would offend you, no, don't read this. There's also some strong uses of the F word throughout this book. And again, so if you're a sensitive reader, don't read it. But if you like the Cultish podcast, Uneducated by Tara Westover, or One Tree Hill, you're going to want to read this book. And I would recommend the audio. She narrates it, the author narrates it. You can tell when parts of the story are harder for her to read through because her voice reflects that. And that is one reason why I love listening to the memoirs when they are read by the author, because you get a whole nother level of immersion into what they experienced. This does delve into being led into and being a part of a cult, and then her leaving the cult. And this was all happening while she was filming One Tree Hill. So again, if you're a One Tree Hill fan, it's very interesting of what she was having to deal with in her real life, and then go on set and film and act and perform. But having to put that aside and act and be in the world of One Tree Hill, I haven't ever seen the show. I've seen like random episodes from a college roommate. I don't know how she did it. I would not have been able to do it. My quick takes on this are 5 out of 5 stars. Language is strong. Spice is none. And content is themes of manipulation, emotional abuse, and toxic relationships. Next up is Every Falling Star by Sungju Lee. And this is a memoir of how he escaped North Korea. This book is wild, and it is actually written to a younger audience. It does have some really heavy themes throughout, but it is such a great window into a country that we don't get a lot of information about. And I never learned about North Korea. Reading this book, I had my eyes open to what is actually happening over there, what he went through as a young boy, as a preteen, as a teenager, and the true hardships that he faced. I mean, it's wild. And yeah, it's one I think about. I think about this one a lot. So it follows him from the age of 9 to 16, and it is written for that age range. So it's a good middle grade and YA read. I do think for middle grade, maybe read it alongside them. It has a lot. Even YA though, like with your teens, you can read alongside them. I think it has so much that you could talk about, and talking points about what's happening in our world and why aren't things like this shown on the news. And there's just like so many talking points that could come out of this book. Some of the thought-provoking themes that it brought up were propaganda, racism, and political corruption. My quick takes on this are 5 out of 5 stars. Language is none. Spice is none. And content is real-world experience with brutality, fighting, poverty, and off-page inferences to rape and prostitution. Some books that I read don't fit into these genres that I've listed out, but they were top reads, and I didn't read enough 5-star reads in those genres to give them their own like 3-book list. So these are books that didn't fit neatly into the genres I've already listed, but still deserve the spotlight. First up is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I'm specifically talking about the full cast audio that Audible is currently releasing on a monthly basis. Right now, as I'm filming this, they currently have 2 books out. They're about to release a 3rd. I have been devouring these the day they come out. Book 1 was released in December, so I read it last year, which is why I added it into this roundup, but I absolutely love the full cast audio. I have read the full series, so this is a reread for me, and consuming it in this new format. I mean, it is fully produced, fully scored. Each character has its own voice actor. It is so phenomenally done. Would recommend to literally everyone. This is a middle grade fantasy, and if you are a mom to littles and questioning, should I let them listen to this audiobook? I think there are a lot of things, especially for like littles, like I don't plan to let my littles which their age range is 2 to 6. I don't plan to let them read Harry Potter for a while. I want to get through Narnia and some other fantasies before we pick up Harry Potter. But after reading this and having like a 6-year-old, I don't think I would let her listen to it. There is one use of the D word and then some more like middle grade concepts of like bullying, racism and that type of thing as well. So not something that I would let super little ears listen to, but it truly is a middle grade and up. And I just have loved the full immersion of the full cast audio. My quick takes for the full cast audiobook is 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is middle grade fantasy. Language is one use of the D word and insults. Spice is none. And content is past death of parents, neglect, bullying, and blood drinking. Next is a classic, and I really hope to read more classics this upcoming year, but I only read one this past year, and it was Dracula by Bram Stoker, and I absolutely loved and was surprised by this book. It is written in an epistolary format, and it uses telegrams, journal entries, phonograph entries, letters, all kinds of fun, different media to tell this story of good versus evil, dark versus light. It is so different than the modern day vampire culture that we have going on. And again, I was just so surprised by it. And I just loved everything about it. I listened to this on Audible, and they have a full cast version that is included with an Audible subscription, and I really enjoyed it. So every character had their own voice. Reading this as a Christian and believer truly was a just great experience, because thinking about vampire stuff now, and you see the crucifix and you see different symbols of Christianity, and you think like, oh, it's just something that got put in with vampire stuff. But in Dracula, it truly is like the crucifix is the good power of the good news against a dark, evil force. And the characters do talk about Dracula as a twisted version of God's good creation that needs to be got rid of. So I did love elements like that throughout and was surprised that they were in there. And this again is one, like a classic I would recommend to anyone. I absolutely loved it. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is gothic classic. Language is infrequent, mild, and God's name in vain. Spice is none, and content is death of a loved one and mental health threat. My final book for this mismatched genre, which this makes me both happy and sad. Happy that I read one thriller that was fantastic this year, and sad that all the other thrillers I read were just basically terrible. But I am so happy that I read You Are Fatally Invited by Ande Pliego. This is her debut thriller, and it is phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. It is doing something totally different than what is on the current thriller market, and it has a beautiful redemptive story arc, which you absolutely do not see in thriller books. It also doesn't have any strong profanity. It does have mild and moderate, but the F words are not in there, which is great because I feel like most thrillers have that. If you liked Agatha Christie's And There Were None, Knives Out Murders, or Clue, this is the book. You need to pick it up. Look no further. You Are Fatally Invited. Add it to your thriller reading list. I loved it. My quick takes on this are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is thriller. Language is moderate. Spice is kisses only. And content is killing, murder, and violence. My last section of 5-star reads is specifically for series. So these are different genres, but these are series that I read during the year. So I read every single book in the series, and they were consistently phenomenal and just got better and better and better. So I'm very excited to encourage you to pick these up. First is the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon by Beth Brower. And the first 2 books you must read as if they're one book. They both sit at around 100 pages. And I gave both of those 4 stars, but then book 3 and on, so book 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, there are currently 8 volumes. I gave the rest of them 5 stars. Absolutely love this series. It is witty, endearing. I mean, I don't really have the words to do it justice. You just need to pick it up. And again, read volumes 1 and 2 as if they're one book, and then go straight into volume 3. You will not be disappointed. The books do get heavier and have more content the farther you read into them. So I'm going to give you my quick takes from book 8 because it's going to have the most. The language, I don't think there's any in the first couple, but then consistently it is just a few mild throughout. So my quick takes on this are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is historical romance with a little bit of magical realism. Language is mild. Spice is kisses only. And content is grief, past death of family members, and past domestic abuse. Next is a series that is not completed yet, and that is The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few. This is the Hierarchy series by James Islington. I loved The Will of the Many, and I almost love The Strength of the Few as much as The Will of the Many. I think I loved it because it truly stretched my brain. It was totally different from the first book. I've seen some mixed reviews on the second book because it is so different, but I think that in the long run, it's going to be successful. I gave book 2, The Strength of the Few, a 4.75 stars. This is the first book I've ever given a 4.75. It was just like a smidge under the 5-star because it was so different from book 1. And I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to spoil anything. But if you are a high fantasy, epic fantasy reader, love ancient Rome, you will devour book 1. I also struggle to recommend this to everyone, especially if you're not a fantasy reader, because book 1's a great intro into fantasy. There's one point of view. It's very easy. Okay, it's not very easy to understand, but once you get to a certain point in the book, you can follow what's happening. With that being said, book 2 is intense. It goes into 3 points of view. They don't talk to each other. They don't communicate. So as the reader, that really frustrated me. And that is kind of why it lowered down. But I mean, again, in the end, I loved it still. I loved that my mind was pushed to expand what I thought multiple points of view should look like. And I really am excited to see what book 3 has in store. This is going to be a 4-book series. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is epic high fantasy. Language is mild to moderate. Spice is kisses only. And content is themes of violence, on-page graphic death, mass murder, and suicide. My final series that I recommend, I am just in love with this series. It is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and I read all 4 of these books this year, and I absolutely loved them. It, again, is not one that I would necessarily blanket recommend. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. There are a lot of points of view. So if you want to read this, let me know. I have a little cheat sheet for book 1 that the book club I was in, they distributed for key players, and I had to reference it all the time to remember who was this person again, because there are so many points of view. Again, really pushed my understanding of how many points of view you could successfully have in a book, and it is successful if you continue reading it at a good clip to remember who all these characters are. But I love the short chapters. Each chapter is a different point of view, so there's no point of view switches within chapters. The characters are endearing, they're heartwarming. It is true good versus evil. There is some great biblical allegory that he has going throughout, very light versus dark, and I just really loved all of it. And I loved it so much that I'm reading the next trilogy right now. It's in the same realm, and it happens 130 years after the final book ends of the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I just really love John Gwynne as an author in general. So excited to read more of his books. Absolutely would recommend this series by him. My quick takes are 5 out of 5 stars. Genre is epic fantasy. Language is moderate. Spice is closed door. Content is graphic, violence, themes of war, murder, and death. If you want recommendations using the same exact contextually transparent rating system, I have a full video explaining exactly how I rate books, and I will link it right here. And if you have not already, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. You can click on my face to do that. And until next time, I hope all of your reads are 5 stars.